Panie Admirale, Panie Generale, Szanowni Państwo, na wstępie chciałbym podziękować za przyjęcie mojego zaproszenia dzisiejszego przyjęcie na francuską konferencję w ramach Balt Military Expo 2014. Jak mogliście Państwo zauważyć i przekonać się, w tym roku francuska obecność na targach Balt Military Expo jest znacząca. Na targach obecnie jest około 10 francuskich przedsiębiorstw. Na nasze stanowiska mogliście się Państwo przekonać o najwyższej jakości francuskiej oferty przemysłowej. Oczywiście nasz przemysł morski opiera się na wiekach tradycji, ale jednocześnie na wiedzy i doświadczeniu naszej marynarki wojennej, działającej na prawie wszystkich morzach i oceanach. Francja dysponuje drugim co do wielkości obszarem morskim na świecie i wypełnia obowiązki w tym związane. Nie będzie mi wolno przypomnieć, iż 70% eksportowanych na świecie towarów przewożonych jest drogą morską, a okręty marynarki wojennej brały udział w ewakuacji z Libanu latem 2006 roku 1 tysięcy europejskich obywateli, a dokładniej 12 tysięcy osób. Zanim oddam głos przedstawicielom marynarki wojennej, przedstawicielom Generalnej Dyrekcji do Spraw Uzbrojenia, naszym przedsiębiorstwom, chciałbym zachęcić polskich i francuskich przedsiębiorców do rozwijania zrównoważonej współpracy na zasadzie obopólnych korzyści. Francja zrozumiała wiele lat temu, że czasy zakupów off the shelf, to znaczy prosto z półki wina i co więcej, Francja potrzebuje partnerów, by dzielić się swoim doświadczeniem, współpracować przy produkcji oraz wspólnie inwestować w badania i rozwój. Francja uczestniczy także w licznych międzynarodowych programach morskich, jak śmigłowiec NH90 helikopter czy fregaty Horizon i Frem. W roku 2014 czeka nas również rozmieszczenie pierwszych 16 pocisków manewrujących typu MCN na naszych fregatach Frem, a następnie na okrętach podwodnych Barracuda. Nawet te pociski manewrujące zostały wyprodukowane w ramach międzynarodowej współpracy przez europejską firmę MBDA i są kontynuacją brytyjskich pocisków Sky Shadow i francuskiego Sky, używanych od wielu lat i uznanych za combat proven, sprawdzone w Francji. Nie ma silnej marynarki bez dobrze rozwiniętego przemysłu stoczniowego i Francja może być partnerem, którego Polska poszukuje, by zmodernizować swoją marynarkę wojenną i zdynamizować zamówienia realizowane przez życzę zatem, abyście Państwo skorzystali z obecności na targach, rozwijając owocną współpracę, uczestnicząc w licznych spotkaniach B2B, biznes i razem zdołacie odpowiedzieć na współczesne wymogi związane z bezpieczeństwem, jednocześnie biorąc pod uwagę wyzwania gospodarcze naszych krajów. I teraz ustąpię słowo przedstawicielowi przemysłu, mianowicie Żika, pan de Virel. Dziękuję jeszcze raz za uwagę. Vous êtes l'orateur suivant.
Good afternoon, my name is Justin Guérin. I'm the export manager of the GCAN. GCAN, which is the French Marine Industry Association, marine industry involved in naval defense, maritime security, safety and environment, and also commercial shipbuilding. Nowadays, we are more than 1,155 members company with a naval turnover of 6 billion euro, representing 40,000 high-value jobs. What is important to know that nowadays the French naval and maritime industry is very well known for its technology and resources, and nowadays it's ranked 6th in the world and 2nd in Europe. Our members are acting in a large scope of activity, which is from commercial shipbuilding and repairs, equipment, naval defense ships and naval aviation, system and equipment, security and safety, and also all the submarine energy. The GCAN, created in 1992, have the total support of the French government with the MOD and also the French procurement DGA, and recently the support of the Ministry of the Transport and the Sea, because the sea with the sea. For today, on the Polish market, we can see that we have close cooperation between French industry and Poland companies on sea-proven equipment and also mentoring MRO and transfer technology. As we can see, that's Sea-Tech Energy, the BIU shipbuilding subsidiary, and also the cooperation between DCNS and Remontowa, TUS data center system with CTM, and Airbus helicopter with WZL. We've got also many venues for all this exchange. We had in February a defense industry seminar in Warsaw, and also today Balt Military Expo. And beginning of September, MSPO, on which France will be guest of honor, and the last one will be Euronaval. Why Euronaval? Because the GCAN is also the organizer of Euronaval. In few figures, Euronaval is less than 100 official delegation, 300 Euronaval guests, 330 exhibitors, and also more than 31,000 visits. If you need more information regarding the French market and the cooperation between Polish industry and French industry, the GCAN is your contact. If you have any question, I will be very glad to answer it. That's all. What we would like to have with the French embassy is to have a presentation of the French industry present on Balt Military Expo with DCNS, Alain Fougeron, which is the executive vice president. We will also have Thales with Olivier Bourrosier, Airbus helicopter, MBDA, and Sagem.
My name is Alain Fougeron, executive vice of DCNS. In fact, I realize it is the 4th time I participate to Balt Expo. In fact, I think I am the oldest guy, French guy at least, participating to this exhibition. It's no use of presenting DCNS. Everybody knows that DCNS is able to answer all the needs of a modern navy, from patrol vessel to aircraft carrier, going through frigates, corvettes, etc., submarines, integration of combat systems, training, infrastructure for the navies, and so on. That's the reason why we are here in Poland since 6 to 8 months, in order to participate to this big adventure of the modernization of the Polish Navy. I have, in fact, four messages to deliver to you. The first one is the fact that the success of DCNS, because DCNS is successful on the export market, all over the world is due to this strong relation with the French Navy. And as the ambassador, Mr. Ambassador said, the French Navy is a very important navy all over the world, and we are the nearly the exclusive manufacturer of the French Navy. So in fact, our ships are not sea-proven. Our ships are combat-proven everywhere. This was my first message. My second message is that since the beginning, since we are in Poland, since 6 or 8 years, our constant aim was, our constant vision, our constant purpose in Poland was to have the ships, was partnership with the Polish industry and cooperation. And that's why that was our approach from the beginning, even at the time or when the Polish authorities were thinking to on-the-shelf acquisitions. But our constant aim was to participate and to have partnership here. We have worked a lot on this subject with our partners, with the Polish industry. We have made a lot of audit and surveys, and today we are completely convinced that the ships, even the most sophisticated ships such as submarines, can be built easily I say, in Poland with some, of course, reasonable investment and adaptations of the tools, and with reasonable helps of DCNS. The reason is that we find in Poland a long tradition in shipbuilding, and with a partner like DCNS, with our commitments, we can realize most of the modernization program in Poland directly. And that has to be, we have to convince your Navy and the final user of the ships that is true. And I know that the Navy has some doubt about the ability of safe programs, but in fact, if your authorities choose the DCNS and its partner, your ships will be ready on time, on schedule, in the right qualities, and with the performance we are expected. There is absolutely no doubt about that. My third message is that we want, when I am speaking of the Polish programs, but also DCNS wants to incorporate the Polish industry in the scope of its supplier. You have in Poland a lot of companies. We have products and abilities that we want to use in our own programs for the domestic market, that is the French market, for the French Navy, but also on the big programs we have on the export market. We want to incorporate these companies not only for the naval market, but also for the new activities of DCNS in the field of maritime renewable energy. And that's the reason why we have created a task force 2 months ago with 6 or 7 guys, which are now traveling all around Poland in order to identify and to start discussions with your industry. And I am very optimistic that in very close time we will be able to announce some procurement in Poland. My fourth message is that should the Polish Navy decide to buy submarines fitted with cruise missiles, the French cruise missiles, it would give to Poland a very strong and powerful system, armament, which is can be compared with any simple submarines. And we are discussing of that point with the Polish authorities, and all authorities which are ready to provide the system are also discussing of that point. It would give a terrific advantage to Poland for the defense of Poland territories, and also would give to Poland, incorporate Poland in the very small club of countries having this equipment. So it would give influence to Poland in Europe and among the Western navies. That was my fourth message. In fact, I've got a fifth message. That is to say, this message is that we are the CNS coming to Poland, but for these programs, for these navies programs, we have with us two other partners, very important, which are also leaders in their markets. Thales with us. Thales is providing, among other equipments, the sonars of the submarines, which are the best sonars in the world. That's really. And for us it's very important. And also MBDA. MBDA is providing all the missiles for the submarines, anti-ships, anti-air, and also these cruise missiles. So we are very happy to have those people, and you can see that there is a French team with the CNS, Thales, MBDA, but also the French Navy, and also the French DGA, which is able to provide supervision of such a program. Well, it is an adventure between France and Poland. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Alain, for your very kind words about Thales. Yes, we are proud to be a supplier of choice to DCNS. Also to Airbus helicopter, that we are the supplier of maritime solution, including beeping sonars. I'm not going to talk to you about Thales products. I mean, it would take hours to go through the whole product range, but of course, if you want details, we'll be delighted to have you understand and make sure that our experts talk to you about the performance of our equipment, how they can meet the requirements of the Polish Navy, and talk about our credentials. But just like to mention the flash beeping sonar as one example of a flagship product, since it is not only the choice of the French Navy on the NH-90 helicopter, but also the US Navy on the NH-60 Romeo, or the Royal Navy with the Merlin helicopter. So just one example of remarkable French technology that we can bring to Poland. Thales, what I'd like to talk about in a few minutes is how we approach the Polish market, and you will see it's very consistent with what Alain just said. In Thales we have a pretty long track record of experience of dealing in Poland since the early 90s, and particularly in the naval field, as we have been involved in the modernization of the Open-class aircraft. We've been involved in the Cormoran 1 and Cormoran 2 mine counter NCMBs, and more recently involved in the Schlanzak patrol ships. So we have learned to deal with Poland, and along the years we have invested in Poland quite significantly. We now have a full-fledged Thales company in Poland, led by Mr. Paweł Piotrowski here. Thales Polska has 200 employees, 200 Polish employees, all of them Polish. Admittedly, mostly involved in civil business, mostly in civil rail signaling project, but about 10% currently of those 200 people that we have in Poland are now dedicated to supporting the naval business. And they have basically three roles. First one is a business development role, making sure that we bring through to Poland the whole wide portfolio of Thales solution, wherever they come from, so of course mostly from France, but also from other countries. We also have support, logistics support office in Gdynia, which is used to supporting the Polish Navy, and that we intend to expand. And most importantly, Thales Polska is also used as a hub to help the whole Thales business unit operate in strong cooperation with the Polish defense industry. We have, over the years, established quite a number of those cooperations. In CTM, for instance, in the naval field, with NMR, in naval communication, with Radmor, in army communication, and also with Buma Electronics. So we have learned over the years to work with the Polish industry, but we have a long way to go. I have to say that we have so far a perfect track record when it comes to fulfilling of offsets obligations or transfer of technology, and now we're looking to address Polonization with those players that I mentioned, but also others. And we are proud to be involved in quite a number of technical dialogue and a number of programs, mostly, of course, on the naval program, but other Polish Armed Forces modernization program. And based on that, we expect to leverage on that track record with those industrial relationships with our local presence, and also with the support of GCAN and the support of our French partners, and of course the French Embassy and the French Ministry of Defense. Thank you.
Dzień dobry. I have to introduce myself because I forgot to send my name to the GCAN representative. I'm Michael Perru. I'm in charge in Airbus helicopters of Central Europe and some Mediterranean countries. And my main task today is to lead the helicopter campaign in Poland. I had the chance to have the previous conference, so we have some pictures to present. Airbus helicopters started to be present in Poland more than 10 years ago. We started to address first the civilian market, and in 2007 we started to work with what we call the parapluic market, with the LPR programs, where we deliver 23 EC-135 to the Ministry of Defense. With all this program, so first of all we achieved a fleet of more than 50 helicopters flying in Poland, and we used that fleet in order to develop a full support and service capacity in Poland with our partner Invest Services. Now we understand that we are starting a new phase. And we strongly believe that the modernization that has been launched by the Ministry of Defense until 2022 is a unique chance for Poland to strengthen its Polish defense industry and play a key role in Europe. Beyond the fact that Airbus Helicopters is able and ready to propose the full range of products that is needed by the Polish Armed Forces. Obviously, starting with this beautiful bird, which is the sole today in the competition, presenting the advantages being a single platform, able to perform multi-role missions, It is a modern platform and a full combat-proven platform. This helicopter has been operated during the last 10 years in the most demanding environments. And we are talking desert, sea, everything. Following this program, we know that there will be 2 other programs that will be launched by the Ministry of Defense in short, middle, and long term. The first program will be the attack helicopter, for which we believe that the Tiger could be the good solution. And the next program will be the light duty helicopter, for which we can propose the EC-645. Again, 2 platforms, modern and fully combat proven. And more than that, the Tiger and the Caracal have demonstrated during Afghanistan that they can be compatible and work together, able to work together. All that program combined are, as I said before, a unique opportunity to accelerate sustainable industrial implementation of Airbus helicopters in the country. And I think during the last months, this message has been passed several times by our CEO, Guillaume Faury, in the country. Till we start, obviously, with a comprehensive R&D base, as it was explained by Mr. Dumont, our Executive President for Research and Development, this afternoon. A strong research and development capacity is a mandatory prerequisite for the sustainable development of the Polish defense industry. This comprehensive R&D program will be completed, obviously, with the investment on an industrial competence centers, such as full assembly line. As it was explained a little bit earlier, we have today an agreement with WZL1 to develop this full assembly line, the service centers, and obviously the capacity to manufacture aviation parts for the Polish market, but also that addressed to the worldwide market. Beyond Airbus helicopter, and that has been also announced several times during the last months, Airbus Group, which is present in Poland for almost 15 years now, is proposing to Poland a global and joint approach to develop its state-owned aeronautic and space industry. Again, with a comprehensive R&D program and investment in industrial competence centers for the full range of product of the group. It will allow the full integration, it will also allow the full integration of the Polish industry in Airbus Group's global supply chain, which is a huge driver for a long-term economic growth. As a conclusion, Poland has the opportunity to become an important industrial player in Europe, in aeronautic and space field. And we, as Airbus Group, are the one able to propose a complete and coherent cooperation package today.
Szanowni Państwo, ladies and gentlemen, dziękuję, że jesteśmy razem dzisiaj. Ponieważ widzę, że wszyscy nie będą mówili po polsku, to raczej to zrobię też po angielsku, ale jeśli trzeba będzie po polsku razem porozmawiać, to będę do dyspozycji. I'm just saying that as everybody is not speaking fluently Polish, I do my presentation in English, and I will be open to discuss with anybody on this later on. So my name is Mark Ferem, Regional Executive for MBDA in charge of Poland, and I'd like to say that I'm very happy to be here today because there are a lot of friends in the room, and not only from an industry side, but I see lots of colleagues that we know from a long time ago, and I'd like just quickly to say what MBDA has as objectives in Poland and where MBDA could help. I need some slides because we'll be involved in numerous projects, or could be. So in order to be more simple, I'd like to remind to you that MBDA is a European missile house. We have 10,000 people, and we are the merge of 4 countries in the area of missile activities. You have the flags here, France, UK, Germany and Italy. And the way to work is a way to work that we like to say cooperative. And that's what we'd like to propose to Poland. Not only based on the way we work together, but on the way we work with everybody at international level. So you know that we are part of the biggest missile international programs, whose name you have here, notably the Scalp Storm Shadow. I will come back on that, because it's the basic of what we do for solutions that Mr. Ambassador and Mr. Fougeron from DCNS presented, which is the NCM, the standoff missile. Of course, you see that we have shareholders that are also in the room, and we are very happy to work together when it is possible to facilitate the relations with the customer and to help going ahead. So the slide to say quickly where we are working on the naval field only in Poland, because you know that we are working also on air defense. You see that we have capabilities for anti-ship, naval air defense and deep strike. So you see different kind of platforms, and you recognize some platforms that were already mentioned today. So in red I chose to highlight where we could work in Poland. So you see that on the surface platforms we have Aster 1530 and the Elbika. For the people that are involved or are interested with other programs in Poland, notably air defense, you will see that they're the same missiles that you put on the ships and on the ground. What we have also is on submarines, like Fougeron said, we have 3 missiles, which are the Exocet. Anti-ship, we have a submarine launch, the Elbika. Air defense, you see that the same missile that we have for surface platforms. And we have also the naval cruise missile, NCM, that is a key asset here. Of course, we have also on helicopters that you see the Exocet, same family of missiles, but helicopter launched. We have Marte, which is a smaller Exocet, and we have other kind of products. Next slide. So for submarine is a hot and key subject here. I said that we have 3 missiles. Exocet, the name is very much known. So we have a 50 kilometer range. So it's a very effective device. Just for you, if you're not specialized, a missile like that has 2 bodies. There is a first one that is on the torpedo launchers, that is going out of the submarine. And when this body, this vehicle, is reaching the surface of the sea, is opening and the missile is going out in the air. So this is, of course, in mass production. It is very much known in several navies. And it is, of course, on the Scorpion submarine. Next slide. So the MICA. MICA is a co-development with DCNS regarding defense. It gives the submarine a key capability in this area. We have a range which is 15 kilometers. The principle is the same as for the Exocet. You have 2 bodies, one body that goes out of the submarine, and when it reaches the surface, you have the MICA that goes out. Same philosophy, very precise, very simple. Next, naval cruise missile, we spoke about it. This is a key asset for the Polish forces that are proposed to Poland due to the excellent level of relation between France and Poland. And I would like to underline that, because such a kind of device is only possible thanks to an agreement between countries. This has been developed in order to be put on submarines, and you see that it will be fielded within the Barracuda in 2018, which is a nuclear submarine. And what is extremely important is that France, thanks to that, is capable to give a single key solution to Poland. Meaning that you know that from some equipments coming from other countries, you have double key systems. France has this particularity to give the country with whom we are working a single key capability. Of course, that is key for a country like Poland. I'd like to develop quickly this aspect. What is important for this is a complete solution, because in order to use this kind of missile, you need a mission planning system which will allow the missile to understand via the combat management system what will be the target that he has to achieve. And this will be used via the submarine and launched by launchers that I have shown. The principle is always the same. For missiles, you need air, so you need to go out of the water. So you have an underwater propulsion unit that goes out, is opening, you have the booster ejection, and then the wings are opening, and that goes far, because that type of armament is having a plus 500 kilometer reach with a very, very precise capability of going onto the target. So the way it works, you have the submarine, next. So you are planning the mission on the sea or on the shore. You integrate your orders within the submarine command and control systems. Then you're selecting waypoints. So you're selecting a trajectory. It is a maneuvering missile. So you select the way it will come on the land. Next. So you can consider the area where it should go on the land, precisely, and get to the target. Next. So this tool is very effective. And this tool we have it also on surface platforms. And some quick words. You see that it's the NCM launch, but we have also on platforms other assets, exocet, a name that you know. I won't come back on that because in Poland there is another type of missile from Saab, which is very much used. But there is also the Aster and the VMIK that I spoke earlier. So the Aster, you know it, 120 kilometer interception range. It's used also in lots of countries, and it's a really, really key asset for all these navies. Next. VMIK, we have the two secure versions. We have an interception range on 20 kilometers. That's typically the kind of missile we would have on programs in Poland, Czapka and Miecznik. And that we had also selected on the Gavron program, and this would be ready for the Ślązak when needed, of course. Last but not least, what we put on platforms, and here you recognize the wonderful helicopters that I see here, that has this key capability, and also, which maybe you don't know, it's a new development, and we have tested it. You have on the Kazan aircraft C295 this capability. So just to mention it, the exocet has been combat proven, and it has been integrated. Notably today we have a very interesting campaign in another country. We have lots of these missiles that are under negotiations, where we have it on the Caracal helicopter. You've seen it in the press. Next, we have the Marte, which is the last development I spoke about, which is what you put on the C295. This would be a shorter range because it is 30 kilometer class compared to the 70 kilometers of the exocet. What would give the capability of the Polish Navy also an anti-ship capability if wish. So 2 slides to conclude. Of course, industrial cooperation is at the heart of what we'd like to propose. So transfer of technology, training, production, and integration, support to customer and services are the usual way we work in Poland. For those who work together with us on the air defense, they clearly see how deep the partnership goes. And we have a clean We have a clean record regarding offsets and industrial cooperation in a lot of countries, and we would be pleased in Poland to work also on transfer of know-how missile and system technologies, of course, on system integration on platform, supporting the customer and doing a lot of service. We would like to be a partner to Polish industry and work together with you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Pierre Ballant, I'm Regional Director for SAGEM, and I will start with a few words about what SAGEM has done up to now for the Polish Defense Forces, and I will then hand over to Pierre-Olivier Noguès, who is our Vice President for Naval Activities. So SAGEM is not a large prime contractor as some companies presented just before. We are basically an electronics company. And we provide, in particular, two core technologies. We have provided two core technologies in a number of applications to the defense forces in Poland: electro-optics and inertial navigation. SAGEM has been active for some 20 years now in support of the Polish defense industry and the Polish armed forces. And we have supplied a number of electro-optics and inertial navigation, mainly so far in the for the ground applications and the airborne applications. Another important aspect is that SAGEM is part of a larger group called Safran, which employs some 60,000 persons, which has a subsidiary in SAGEM called Hispano-Suiza Polska, which employs 500 highly qualified persons in the region of Rzeszów, completely involved in the production, design and production of aerospace equipment for civilian and defense activities. A particular concern of SAGEM for the last 20 years has been the involvement of the Polish industry in all the programs we have been involved in, even if it was not an explicit requirement of the Polish Ministry of Defense. We considered it was absolutely necessary in order to guarantee first the suitability of the solutions we propose to the requirements of the Polish users, and secondly also the support, the long-term support of those products, as well as having a long-term cooperation basis with our industrial partners. If we look to the future, there are two main programs which we are involved, or projects we are bidding for the naval forces of Poland, and both have been mentioned just before at the level of prime contractors. One is the utility helicopters, where we propose electro-optical mission payloads for the observation capability, target detection capability of those helicopters. And the other one is electro-optics for surface ships and, as mainly today, submarines. That means periscopes or electronic masts for submarines, where we support DCNS in a number of countries, starting with France, of course. I will hand over to Pierre-Olivier, who will introduce more specifically those naval products.
Good afternoon. SAGEM's know-how in surface ships involves a number of equipment. Briefly, you see here that we are involved in three types of products. First one is decoy launchers. We have decoy launchers on many French Navy ships, basically all the main battleships, and also export markets. Also involved in optronic systems. Optronic systems are used for initial detection of threats, whether conventional or asymmetric, and also for identification and engagement. So we have know-how in the field of electro-optical gunfire control systems with a variety of navies. The last type of equipment is navigation systems. Navigation systems using different technologies of gyros, from ring laser gyros and the new technology now, the technical breakthrough with the hemispheric resonating gyro. Our submarines, our know-how is in terms of above the surface detection systems. So anything that is used at periscope depths, basically, and during transit as well, with some products going back many years that are broken down into navigation radar, penetrating periscopes, and non-penetrating optronic masts. We currently have a new family of optronic masts that is suitable for both search, so detection, and MBDA mentioned the new anti-air weapon against maritime patrol aircraft and helicopters. The search optronic mast that CHAGEM proposes is capable of performing independent search using infrared images of air threats. This is a technology that's been used on surface ships for about 25 years and which is now mature enough to propose on submarines as well. This is basically the overview of our submarine optronic products, and on submarines we also have a number of navigation systems which are appropriate for both navigating but also for stabilization of weapon systems. Of course, on surface ships it's gun-on missiles, and on submarines it's missiles. We wanted to have a very brief session here, so this is all we have for now, and we'll be happy to address any questions.
We will be, of course, exhibitor at MSPO, so we hope to meet you again, to see you again